Kia ora everybody, welcome along to the parent information session for the Kawa of Care this year. This year we're going to be doing things slightly differently. We're going to be giving you the information here online as part of the presentation rather than hosting the on-site meeting at school. My name's Matt Reisman. I'm the assistant principal here at Waikowhai Primary School, and I'm also the teacher who's in charge of IT to give you the information today. So what we're going to run through in this session is we're going to give you an introduction to what Ako Hiko is and what we're a part of. I'm going to give you an overview of how the Chromebook comes home. We're going to talk about the Kawa of Care, which you've had the document at home, so what you need to know and consider. We'll give you some information about the Chromebook, the background for it. We'll talk a little bit about what visible learning is, so you'll see how learning works in the classes. We'll talk about CyberSmart, which is a program that runs at school. We have a look at the different ways that schools actively monitoring the Chromebooks and what you could be doing as well. We touch on blogging and then some frequently asked questions. So the first thing that we talk about is Ako Hiko. Now Ako Hiko is a group of 7 different schools within the Mount Roskill area. We're all very similar schools. We are all part of the Ako Hiko Education Trust, and so you can see up the top here the 3 keywords for the trust are equity, achievement and opportunity. So through working through the Ako Hiko Education Trust, they provide us with the Chromebook bundles which you will have purchased. They also provide us with professional development, so we have a person who comes into school each week to work with different teachers. We work together across the schools to get the best for our learners as well. If you'd like to find out a little bit more information, then you can have a look at akohiko.org as the website. That gives you a bit of background around the trust as well. Waikowhai Primary School has been part of the trust since late 2015, and we've had Chromebooks in classes in some form or other since 2016, so we've got a lot of experience moving forward with this as well. So what's happened at school already for most of the kids is we've had what we call the out of the box day. Out of the box is where the Chromebooks get opened, and it's a very, very exciting day. The next thing that happens is where we're at now. So you have a look at this Kawa of Care video, you're watching it through, and then you're going to complete an online Google form as well that lets us know how comfortable you're feeling about the Chromebook coming home, whether you've got plenty of information and whether you're feeling prepared or whether you need a bit more help. And then once we've got confirmation at school of the regular payments happening or full payment for the Chromebook, and we've got the Kawa of Care document signed, then the Chromebooks can start to come home. So the Kawa of Care, this is the document that your child has already brought home. It comes in 3 different parts. So there's the part that is for the school, there is the part that is for the children, and there is the part that is for yourselves as parents. So what we do is we do lots of learning around this at the start of the school year within classes, and we continue it as well because we want the devices to be looked after and maintained. So this first page is all around school. These bullet points here are really important to go through with your child at home, and we cover these off at school. This is how we look after the device responsibly. When we're at school, so the school side of things, we provide technical support for the devices when needed. So if anything's wrong with the device, please let us know, either through Seesaw, email, or calling the school office as well. We also make sure that the classroom environment follows the CyberSmart curriculum. So we'll talk a little bit about CyberSmart later on, and we want to support you in engaging with your child's work as well. So that's part of today's session. The second page is when the Chromebooks are coming home. So there are a few less obligations for the student here and a few more for you as family and whānau. So students need a safe place to store their Chromebook when they're not using it. It needs to come back to school each day in the same condition that it was given in, and it needs to come to school every day charged and ready to use. That's the ideal for us. If it comes to school fully charged, that means the whole day of learning can happen and the charger can actually stay at home. As family and whānau, these are the things that we'd like you to do. So you'll make sure that you only use the guest account when you're using your child's device. If you have no intention of using your child's Chromebook, then we're able to turn off the guest account. You just need to let us know through an email. At the moment, you're attending the Chromebook training session to give you basic skills to help at home. And we'll touch on CyberSmart as well, so you'll be able to use CyberSmart values at home, so showing respect. You'll interact with your child's learning in a positive, thoughtful and helpful way. And you ensure your child's encouraged to be a responsible user at home by actively monitoring their Chromebook use and online activity, so making sure they're not downloading copyright material and working with a screen time that works for you. We also ask that you help your child provide a safe and secure place for their Chromebook at home, and if you choose to take up a credit sale contract with us, making sure that your payments are up to date as agreed in the contract, and if you leave the cluster, then you have got the option to pay the outstanding amount on your Chromebook so that it goes with you. Then what we ask you to do as well is come down here and let us know what nights you'd like the Chromebooks to come home on, what days and nights. And on the final page here as well, there is a device care bundle for you to read your way through. Especially important, you're covered for a maximum of 3 repairs and 1 replacement of this device, provided you've followed the terms and conditions in here. And the terms and conditions are also things that we work through with the students. We talk about that when they're looking after their device. So, to follow the Kawa of Care, there are some questions that you'll need to discuss and consider with your child. Where would the Chromebook be used at home? Generally, when we've asked parents this in the past, they've spoken about having it in a public place at home where it's easy to see. So rather than being out in bedrooms, it might be at a kitchen table or somewhere in the lounge. What time limits will you set with the Chromebook? So how much time are you comfortable with your child being on their device? Where will you charge the Chromebook? Will it need to be charged overnight so that it comes to school ready for the next day? Just keeping an eye on your child's online and offline friends and how you monitor it, and also having a chat with them if they're confronted with a difficult situation online. Will they come and speak with you? Really, really important, if it's broken, if the Chromebook is broken or parts of the Chromebook, please let us know so that we can get it fixed as soon as possible. We have got a few school devices that your child can sign into while the Chromebook's away being fixed, so their learning continues. So what we've got here is just a really basic overview for the Chromebook. Why the Chromebook is the device of choice. It offers us quite a few benefits. The first thing is it's very fast. So the students are on to the internet within about 8 seconds, and they're carrying on with their learning. That's fabulous. The Chromebooks are managed by the school when we enroll them, but when your child leaves, then we take them off the management system as well. This is what they look like in the picture here. So they effectively look like a little laptop. Their battery, as we mentioned, will last the whole day. And the other good thing is that we can sign into the different accounts. So if for whatever reason your child's Chromebook is away getting fixed, then they can use a school device in the meantime to continue on with their learning as well. Is where we talk about the role of the Chromebook. So the Chromebook plays a really important role in our pedagogy that we use, our strategy of teaching, which is on the left hand side of the screen here: learn, create and share. So the Chromebook is not a replacement of the different things that we do at school already. It doesn't come in and replace all the books or replace different fine motor skills like handwriting, but instead it adds on to them. So in the past, when we think about learn, it might have been the potential that we learn from books and from people coming into school to speak to us. Now with the Chromebook as a tool, it opens up different avenues and different ways that we can access our learning. So we might be able to use some ebooks or some carefully curated YouTube clips to show learning in different ways. It gives students access to a wider range of opportunities. When we think about create, we might have created a piece of writing or built a model or made something physical inside the class, a poster perhaps. We're now able to use the Chromebook to create what we call a digital learning object. So we can use different tools on the Chromebook to create exciting ways to show our learning. And in the past, when we shared, we might have spoken to somebody about our learning, we might have had it put up on the wall, which we can still do, but also we can amplify that with our Chromebook and the use of our class blogs and through Seesaw and through our individual blogs eventually as well. We're able to share the learning with a wider audience. So the Chromebook is an important tool. It doesn't come and replace everything that we use. It instead supports and allows us to deliver a more comprehensive program. Part of that program is we have our learning as visible. That means that you are able to access, and the students are able to access their learning on their different syndicate sites. So each of the Chromebook classes, Te Ana Ako, which is the middle school class, and Te Waka Ako, which is the senior school class, they have their own special websites built by the teachers and maintained by the teachers in these teaching spaces, which allow the students to get access to the different work they need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Te Ana Ako website just to show you how it works. There are links here available. What we do is we also bookmark it on the students' devices for them so they have quick access to it, and we make the links available on our school website as well. So this is the Te Ana Ako class site. What you'll notice is there's information across the top, but also lots of picture and word information so that it's really easy for the children to navigate, because what you think of this as is their landing page where they're going to go and access their different work. So let's say, for example, that it was maths time at school, and one of the activities today was an online maths activity, as well as working with my teacher and doing a sheet separately. What I do is I click onto the maths page, and here you will see that there are the names of some different groups up the top. Your child will be able to know which group they're on which group they are in once they're set up, and they would click on the relevant group, and then listed on here there will be, once we've got access to it, the activities that your child will then be able to make a copy of and start work. So basically here we give them the template, they make their own copy of their work into their own folder, and then they continue their work that way. So the class site is a landing space for a whole lot of different areas, different work, as well as for you there are also some parent information videos which can be really useful as well. So I suggest once the Chromebook starts coming home, have a good look and explore with your child, get them to show you their class site. CyberSmart is also a really key part of the process. So CyberSmart is a program that's positive and proactive rather than negative and reactive. Each term there's a different focus, so you can see in term 1 we're learning about being smart learners. Term 2 we learn about our smart digital footprint. Term 3 we learn about building smart relationships online, and in term 4 we look at creating smart media. So what happens is each week CyberSmart is timetabled for at least an hour a week, as well as it being infused through the different learning areas at school as well. When teachers are new to teaching in a digital environment, we get our education lead comes into school and works with that class one day a week, or he's going to be working virtually, and we work through the different information. So what you can see down here is there a link to the different work. Chromebooks is year 4 to 6, and you can see Smart Learner, and here are the different sessions that will be covered this week. We talk about the Kawa of Care, we talk about making smart passphrases so that our information is private, we have a look at a Google race to develop our skills, we talk about being at the right place, right time in the right place. Digital Dig goes a bit deeper to find out more about what we can do. We learn some of the tips and tricks for what sites are, doing a screenshot and sharing our information in a screencast. We look at smart images and also getting ourselves set up for Google Meet. So these are the 8 things that will be focused on this term. It's timetabled for Thursday mornings in the middle school. So you'll be able to ask your child on a Thursday what they've done for their Cybersmart learning this week. We also have quite a lot in place to actively monitor the devices at school, because I know that will be an area that parents might be concerned about. The very first thing is on the left hand side here, you'll see N for L and then a big access denied sign. So at school, our internet is filtered or protected by N for L, which is Network for Learning, and they cover lots of different schools around the country. What happens is they came together with us at the very start, and they let us know, they allowed us to set the different controls of what might be blocked at school and what might be allowed, and they monitor that. So whenever students are aiming to access something that they perhaps shouldn't at school, this would come up on the screen rather than moving along. Also, whenever students are signed in with their school account, because it's a school account, there are certain URLs or email addresses that are blocked. So for example, Facebook is blocked for the school accounts, whether they're signing into their Chromebook or different accounts. The really cool thing that we have is we have got Hapara Teacher Dashboard. Now Hapara Teacher Dashboard is a monitoring piece of software, but it's also really useful for us. So basically what it does is it connects all of the students' Google Drives for us, so we're able to see all of the different work and all of the different files they're creating. We can open it up, give the students feedback and feed forward, see when they last did their activity, and it helps us really monitor what's happening in their different subject areas. We can also see if they've needed to delete something. Hapara Teacher Dashboard also gives us access to student emails, so we look later on at how we might look at communicating in a positive way using emails, and again it's the things that's coming into their inbox deleted and things that are sent as well with the timestamp. Hapara is really good as well, because what we can do is we can use some of the features like highlights. If we wanted all of the students to be on a certain web page at the same time, what I can do as a teacher is click it in and open it on everybody's device at the same time. And we can also make what's called a focused browsing session, so we all stay on those websites maybe for that lesson rather than moving around different websites. So it helps develop our skills of being on task. In saying that, communication with us is really important. So if students can access something that you think they shouldn't be able to access, please let us know, because it is a learning device. And if you would like your child to have access to something that has been blocked by the school, you would be able to, with them, create their own Google account, but it won't be accessible during school hours. Then we move into blogging. So this year we've had a change of blogging. We're moving to a new platform which is called EduBlogs. Now the real value and the real power in blogs is the ability for us to connect with different learners, to share our learning, and to have a real authentic audience of people seeing our work, whether that's our family members here, our family members around the world or at different parts of the countries, or also kids who are in different classes around the world, around New Zealand, who can comment and add some relevant information as well. So blogging normally comes in for our Year 3 and 4 students towards the end of Term 3, the beginning of Term 4, as we start to look at smart sharing. We start by looking at how we can make positive, thoughtful and helpful comments on other people's blogs before we start to post our blogs. And then what happens is, over time, the blog builds with posts and it carries through and it becomes a fabulous record of our time at Waikowhai Primary School. Here are some frequently asked questions that have popped up at the different parent sessions that we've had. So screen time is a big one. What we are really looking for when we're on our device is we're looking for really purposeful learning. So the screen time is balanced and it's really focused. Generally, there would be probably half of the week Chromebooks would be available for use, but like we spoke about earlier, it's one tool as part of many different tools. So in any given maths session, You might be using your Chromebook for some part of it. You would be doing some problem solving with your teacher for some part of it. You might be doing a different sheet for some part of it. And the same applies for reading and for writing and across inquiry in those different learning areas. One area where we do definitely use our Chromebook is during Cyber Smart time, so that's 1 hour where it's dedicated. But again, some days there's more use and some days there is less use as well, but we're really focused on making sure there's a good balance and that the screen time is purposeful. A second concern or question that comes up is around handwriting and around those fine motor skills. So handwriting is timetabled into the weekly timetable as well for the classes. And also, as we mentioned before, the Chromebook is just one tool. We still do have our books that we work inside, so maths books and books for literacy and inquiry and pens and pencils, so we continue to develop those skills as well. And hopefully, as I mentioned just previously, online safety is another one that comes up. So at school we have got the different programs to monitor the devices. At home you are able to apply some of the Network for Learning settings as well. If you just make contact with us, it'll only be on the your student's Chromebook device. But it's that communication that's really, really important. So basically from here, what you need to do is there'll be a Google form just underneath this video. You need to have a little read, and if you feel comfortable with the Chromebook, with the information that's been presented in here, you're ready to manage that at home, and you feel like and the Kawa of Care paper has been returned to school, then the Chromebook will be starting to come home soon. Thank you so much for being part of the session.